for a second there.
There you go.
Woo! Live stream.
Woot.
What it? Where's my phone? Oh, there it is.
Your Fizzone. HD Izzo.
It was right there.
All right, we're in like Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
Where is my super suit? Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another week of the Virtual Cantina Watch Along, episode 6, episode 6 of the Path of the Darksaber.
The Virtual Cantina
Watch Along.
My fault.
Feedback. Whoa. I hate my voice. Welcome once again. Very excited about tonight because first and foremost, we are going to be watching the final animation episodes of the Path of the Darksaber before we get into live action, which blew our freaking minds. I'm Spencer. I'm one of your hosts for tonight. With us as always is Dave. Dave, what's going on, sir?
Hey, how you doing? Apologies all folks. Weird technical difficulties have us not streaming on the YouTube tonight. It's complicated, but this will be on the channel very shortly after the conclusion of this broadcast.
Absolutely. And third amigo, got Jefe. How are you, sir?
Good. Ready for some rebels.
And back, absolutely, and back from his voyage to Batu, we got Mark. Mark, how are you, sir?
Hey guys, I survived my trip to Disney. It was very exciting.
So wasn't Rise religious?
It was more not emotional, that's not the right word. It was more impressive than I expected it was going to be, because you see reviews and you see the photos, and I've watched some YouTubes of the lightsaber show, but the in-person experience is like nothing I've seen at any theme park for sure, and that's the comparison you need to make. The guy who was like the leader Jedi who took you through the ceremony and did the speech, and the music is timed perfectly. Like you could feel things, and there were kids in the room. Yeah, it was unreal. Like, and by the way, the room was packed. Like every spot was taken, of course, and everyone had their +1. And you could feel it. Even these little kids were like believing it. It was surreal. And I was right next to him. I was in the slot right next to where he was standing. So he kept sort of like looking over to the left. And I told him at the end, I was like, by the way, that was amazing. And he also was funny too, because like of the 10 of us, I think 7 of us had red sabers. So he was at the very end, he was like, oh, an alarming number of Siths. Like it was just, he was really good at playing with the crowd. So I highly recommend it. If you have the money, do the thing and make your own instead of buying a legacy saber would be my
Or do both.
Yeah,
hey Ashley, your ears must have been ringing because we were literally just talking about you. Good things, all good things. We'll be talking to you later. So with that in mind, a couple of things before we start the episodes. Want to plug the Bunta Eve store, which is open right now. It's going to open for another week. So if you want to pre-order your t-shirts for the Bunta Eve Cantina, do so now. We got some great plans we're working on behind the scenes to make Bunta Eve that much better than it already is. So it's definitely gonna be the night to remember right before celebration. But anything newsworthy happened today? I feel it's rather quiet on the page. I mean, what's your thoughts there, Dave?
What did the president do something? Did a country do a thing to another country? What did something? What was there? Was there other news?
Some
Jeff,
hosts were announced.
Oh yeah, that was that. Yes, we got our first announcements for Celebration 2022, which is very, very exciting. First and foremost, StarWars.com did break the news that Official Picks will be running the autograph hall, and they haven't run it since 2015. I believe that's right. It was right before Topps took over, Mark.
That sounds right. I think 2015 was our last year.
Last Anaheim one.
Yep.
And their first three announcements were the Emperor, Ian. We got the original Ahsoka Tano staple in the Star Wars universe, the Queen herself, Ashley Eckstein, and returning to the floor, Anthony Daniels. Some exciting stuff. They also announced that Doug Chang, Steve Sansweet, and David Collins will be at Celebration as well. And Amy Ratliff and Dan Zan from Coffee with Kenobi will be some of the hosts, which is some pretty exciting stuff. I'm happy for everybody else because we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and now we got Celebration news. We know Celebration is happening. I mean, Mark, how's this feel? I mean, you're going to be able to go now and just represent Rubies, but also now as just a fan.
Yeah, I got to buy some autograph tickets once. You know, actually, I have all three of them, so I'm good on those. But I think this was important because we're 8 weeks out from the show. So to know that talent is coming.
Right.
And they led with, I would say, 3 main cast members, right? Like those are all like they're all main cast members. So you would assume that they might be holding back some of their biggest stars to the end. Like we announced Hayden last, and that was actually partially because of time that it took. But you would assume that you're going to have a pretty good lineup. And I think, to your point, people have been screaming, asking, when's it happening?
Yeah.
What do we know? And they announced their hosts as well. And by the way, Dan Zier and Amy Ratcliffe are perfect for this. I'm so excited to see both of them. I'm more excited to see them than anyone else on that list, which I know is hilarious. But like, I love Dan's show. Coffee with Kenobi is incredible. Amy obviously has a ton of experience in Star Wars and has written some excellent work. I want to find them and get photos. I'm gonna selfie with them. That's on my like celebration bingo card. So I'm pumped already from the announcement.
Yeah, Dave, your first celebration. I know you met Ashley when you before, but are you looking forward to meeting Ian or Anthony?
I mean, is there any more? Is there someone who says Star Wars more than Anthony Daniels? And I have not met Anthony Daniels. So, you know, I think that's a not something that was necessarily on my radar, even though I know he's there all the time. But now it's like, okay, scramble. What do I get? Do I get a figure? Do I get a Black Series? Do I get a comic book? I do have a comic book, I think. But, you know, I'm thinking maybe his autobiography.
That's a fantastic book. I absolutely loved. Hey Sherry, hey Hunter, how are you? I loved I am C3PO, even though Telling the Odds, which he revealed in Chicago was the original title, was a better title.
Yeah.
But I don't know what publisher said, oh no one's going to know what you mean by Telling the Odds. Every Star Wars fan would know what you're meaning if you're saying Telling the Odds. I mean, hello. Jeff, what's your thoughts? I mean, you've been around since Denver.
Been around, yeah. Seen the autograph landscape change in many different ways over the years. So it kind of started out slow. I don't even know what there was in terms of autograph the first year. But then C2 Ventures was created, which ultimately became official picks for Celebration 2 in Indianapolis, and they had a whole big area set up for that. So that was when it kind of started to happen. And they did a lot of other things. They did drop off and pick up orders where you didn't have to wait in the huge lines for tickets and or the personality.
Yeah.
But they've kind of done different things over the years and done it better in some cases than others, but it's nice to have that access. So I look forward to seeing who else is going to be scheduled to be there as well to do autographs and photo ops, etc. First photo op I ever signed up to do was for Celebration Chicago, and that was canceled when Tamura canceled his appearance. I was going to do him and Daniel. I think
I was supposed to do that as well. Yeah, I understand.
That was a big cancellation for us. We had a lot of those joint photos planned.
Yep.
Right.
Hopefully, look, I think they would be remiss not to get Tamora and Daniel, given that it's the 20th of episode 2 and that The Mandalorian is running. I
Yep.
can't imagine they're not on the invite list.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, absolutely. But we're very excited about that. But also remember, fans and family, come the night before celebration to the Bunta Eve Cantina at Big's Bar and Grill in Fullerton. We got autograph signings, we got karaoke, we got trivia, we got
You have Flat Spencer.
well, it's gonna be the
For photo ops.
photo ops. It's gonna be we got some great stuff planned. So we hope to see you the night before celebration, and also at the Not So Virtual Cantina at the Hilton Anaheim on Tuesday night, which leads right into the debut of Kenobi right afterwards, which actually we're going to make an announcement right now, might as well. When we finish the Path of the Darksaber, we're going to be moving into another series called Finding Kenobi. Which is going to lead from episodes 1 through 3 and all the animation up until Kenobi. So we're going to follow his path from episode 1 through animation and lead us right to Obi-Wan Kenobi. So we're very excited about that. And it's going to be the return of Frank Rich to the virtual Cantina watch along. So we're very, very excited for Frank to be coming back for this as well. And in the next week or so, don't you fret, ladies and gentlemen, because this season is not the last time you're going to see Mr. MVO. We'll have an announcement for you in the next week or so. Some exciting stuff, which I know Mark is it's been a long time coming for you. What did you say, Mark?
Yeah. You said the line a few weeks ago about like make your dreams come true or something. And I was like, I have been dreaming about this for a while. So I'll let you take the lead on when we talk about specifics, but watch this space, I guess, is the call to action here.
Yes, and not the MySpace that Jeff says he's still a member of. When Scooby was announcing the other day. So everybody, great to see you there. Oh, hey, Dwayne, welcome from Canada. You have plans for your Flat Spencer and Bunta Eve. I'm frightened of your plans for Flat Spencer and Bunta Eve. So talking about tonight's episode, we're going to be watching and your plush flats. No one should have a plush doll of me. I'm sorry, not cool. It's like having a voodoo doll. This is a very special episode for me going into season 1, episode of ouch.
Don't mess with his internet.
Of Rebels. Yeah, you guys scrolling the internet out. Because Celebration 2017 was my first celebration. And this is the episode that Filoni allowed us to watch when the cameras went off with the cast.
That's pretty sweet.
Right after he said this is the last season, and he before the episode was wearing a shirt that says Ahsoka lives ? And then after this episode had changed his shirt to say Ahsoka lives with the exclamation point.
Nice.
Oh damn.
So a little Easter egg by Mr. Filoni over there.
You would do something like that. You would have the multiple shirts planned and
yeah, something like that. But let's go into a little bit of the lore about this episode and where we are currently in the path to the Darksaber. So our resident expert, Mr. MVO, Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit what's going on?
Okay, just to catch everyone up to speed, and thank you guys for filling in last week on this. I know I sent over some notes. You did a good job keeping everyone up to date. It was fine. Honestly, like it's hard to keep track of where we are. So just as a reminder, the starting point of the Darksaber is Tar Vizsla, and he was the one who was the first Jedi, the first Mandalorian Jedi, and he built the Darksaber. He then ruled Mandalore, and hundreds of years later, or thousands of years later, pre-Vizsla has the Darksaber. There you go. We meet him in the Clone Wars, and he loses it in battle to Maul when Maul plans his attack and takeover of Mandalore after they team up. So Maul has the Darksaber, and then he kills Duchess Satine. We watched that happen. That was amazing. And then Palpatine shows up and brutalizes Maul and Savage, and the Darksaber is sort of lost. We then find in the episodes that you guys watch, actually, it was in the episodes leading up to what you watched last week, the Darksaber, when it was lost, ended up back on Dathomir in Maul's lair. And that's when Kanan and Ezra and Sabine go there and encounter like the Night Sister ghosts and end up fighting with them and eventually get the Darksaber. So that's how the Rebels crew ends up with the Darksaber. And I think when you guys started last week, it was Kanan training Sabine into how to use the saber. So Sabine has it.
Infographic about the history of the Darksaber.
I know I have to put together a PowerPoint is really what it comes down to at this point. I will say, like, Star Wars Explained has a very good primer on this, and whenever I'm lost on something, I go to Alex or Wikipedia. Those are the two spots. And so Sabine Training, which I thought was really cool stuff to watch, she is learning how to use the weapon, and then she actually defeats Gar Saxon in battle. I wouldn't necessarily call that like a duel for the Darksaber necessarily, but he does challenge her for it, and she wins. So in theory, she's the ruler of Mandalore at the moment. So right now, Sabine Wren, who we know if you've been watching Rebels, has been a core group of the Ghost since season 1, episode 1. She's a core member. She now has the Darksaber, has been training with both Kanan and Ezra, because Ezra is now leveled up in his skills, and she beat the crap out of Gar Saxon, and she is technically the potential ruler of Mandalore at the moment, though we know it's something she doesn't want. And this is where we're going to get into in the next 2 episodes we watch tonight. She has some family drama that goes back for years. We find out that, you know, we know this a little bit from the show, that she dropped out of the Imperial Academy. Throughout the series of Rebels, you know that she's a weapons expert, and she is very anti-Empire. And we find out why in this episode. She designed a weapon. It was then used. She didn't realize what it was going to be used for, and realized that the Empire was evil. And because of that, she left, and it caused all these problems for her biological family, which is why she was sort of disowned. And she has a new chosen family, which is just great storytelling in its own with the way we define family in Star Wars. So here we are now. She's got the saber, and she's off to go find her mom. So, oh wait, no, she already did that. She already
oh, we know, we saw mom last time, like, because when she shows mom the Darksaber, it's like she stole a sports car or something. Mom's just the disapproving look.
Oh, she was pissed. That's right. We have to find dad in this episode. That's what it is, because he is kidnapped. So Sabine's dad is being held captive by the Empire, and so we have to rescue him. And this is where Bo-Katan shows up. So that should catch everyone up to speed as to where the Darksaber is and who has it and what has gotten us to this point.
So here's something very interesting. We saw when Sabine had this Darksaber, and you know, her mother was like, I can't believe you have it, you know, kind of giving her like, I guess it's you. It was giving more respect to Darksaber than the Armorer really did, which we're going to see in a couple episodes. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched the book about Boba Fett. But you know, if you had the saber, you might be a higher official, but if you get the saber, you're ahead of the pecking order. And you know, seeing that was just like incredible. Very, very excited about what we're about to watch. These episodes about Mandalore are absolutely incredible. Like I said, when we saw it live in 2017 with the cast of Rebels, it was just magical. Especially as you know, it was Sunday. I was exhausted. It was my first panel of the day. After that long weekend, my first celebration, and it was just awesome. So make sure everybody you have it queued up on the D+ machine. Season 4, episode 1, and then we'll take a quick break in between for the Rubies rollout, which Dave did a really great job filling in for last week. He did his research on that one. A couple of new buckets I saw in the last 48 hours that would be nice to talk about. But anywho, let's start with the 10-second countdown. Is everybody cool?
Oh yeah.
Ready?
Okay. We're gonna start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Lift off. Yep, going looking for Dad.
Ezra with like the Iron Man bucket.
Oh yeah, and then he gets his own like jetpack. It's like
Speeder
what?
bike trooper.
Oh, wait for the jetpack stuff. Ezra is not skilled in that area.
What? They fly now?
Not well.
I actually watched that today. I had to. You get an inkling sometimes, even the movies you don't care for, you're like, something, I really want to watch it. And I watch it. I'm like, it's Star Wars,
There you go. That's the bottom line.
Mhm.
So Fen Rao is still here, working with Sabine and the rest of the group. There's a new Saxon. So Gar Saxon was killed. Tiber Saxon, or Tiber, I think. Tiber Saxon is the big villain of this episode, and he's a governor for the Empire. So that's the connective tissue from the prior stuff. By the way, more Chopper, just in general. Bring him everywhere. Put him in every upcoming Disney Plus show.
As Ashley calls it, her favorite murder droid is down chasms and shooting them up. And
He does some wicked stuff.
That scene of
little like the trail in the dark where she spins it. It's like a big obtuse shape.
love it. So Sabine is on the list of potential rulers of Mandalore. Like, she's technically the ruler right now. She is the Mandalore. Right. In live action, which we believe there's going to be a live action Sabine, and there's an actress that was announced. I think unofficially. I think that was like Hollywood Reporter, but Lucasfilm has not confirmed that she's part of the show or that she's playing Sabine. So I would still call that a rumor. Right. But like, if she is there and we're eventually leading to a point where someone's going to rule Mandalore, she's on my short list. She's top 3 candidate for sure. She's on the podium. It's her, Bo-Katan, and Din, I think, at the moment in like the top 3 choices.
But no Grogu?
Grogu maybe too, yeah. That's what makes it complicated, right? Like, because you could make the case for like Ezra or Ahsoka coming back also. Oh, here we go. This is the jetpack nonsense.
Jetpack.
Here's one thing I didn't understand is if, Sabine hasn't mastered Darksaber yet and it's still heavy, she has it fully lit and flying with that. Wouldn't she be weighed down a little bit, wouldn't you think? In theory.
She made a lot of progress in that last training, though. Like, once she got her focus. Oh, I had a thought. Because Gar Saxon wielded it pretty easily as well. It's when people are focused, but also when they're angry. I think there's a dark side component to this blade.
Didn't you say that last week, Dave?
Yeah, I did. I didn't go quite as deep as Mark did. I just assumed focused for a Mandalorian meant pissed. But but and this leads me to that she can fly with the thing even if it were heavy. It's not a physicality of heavy, it's metaphysically heavy. It's not going to weigh the jetpack down, it's weighing her down.
Yeah, and the maneuverability. Like, she was struggling with the blade, and then once she like figured out how to connect to it, it all sort of worked. But yeah, it was anger. I remember when she was like going off on Kanan and telling her everything about her family. I was like, "Ooh, this is juicy."
Look at those chicken walkers.
Look more like chickens than the older ones did.
So one of the things that I identify with Ezra is he has the same kind of like fetish that the rest of us have. He must collect them all.
Oh, with the helmets? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that's going to leave a mark.
Yeah. Those chicken walkers actually look like if anybody's seen the movie Sing, the anime movie. The character called Mrs. Crowley, who is like a secretary. It kind of looks like her with the bug eyes on the side of her face.
Like a chameleon or something?
Yeah. And she sings some System of a Down in the second movie.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
So the Night Owl saved the day.
Yep.
Obviously, Bo-Katan is there, but Ursa Wren's not with her. Ursa Wren, so production order wise, we meet Ursa in the last episode you guys saw, Sabine's mom, but then we see her in the series finale of Clone Wars. She's one of the Night Owls with Bo-Katan, so they go back. But she's not here in this little group with her, is she? I think it's different people. And then Ursa Wren pops up a little bit later. I mean, she'd be older, so it wouldn't make sense for her to be as like, I guess, in battle. Yeah, this is the big reveal. This was rumor. I remember when this rumor was around, like, will Katie Sackhoff be coming back? Will Bo-Katan be appearing in Rebels? Like, this was a big deal. Like, what was it like, Spencer, to see that happen in the panel?
It was. I think people got giddy about it, but I think when we later on see, there's a big spoiler alert in this episode of Warwick Davis's character in Rebels.
Rook.
That people, spoiler alert if you haven't watched this episode. Yes, that another EU Thrawn character was being revealed to be canon now, and the fact that it was Warwick voicing Rook, people went nuts for it. I think Katie got a good pop, but the fact that another EU character was coming in, even more so.
Gotcha. She was overshadowed.
Yeah.
This little exchange was interesting about how Katie just sort of like, I wonder if it's because she wasn't going to fight Sabine for the saber and didn't just want to accept it, but she really just said, like, I tried and failed, and it's not my choice or chance to rule anymore. I wonder how accurate that is.
So I've got a question: is how did other rulers of Mandalore who did not have the Darksaber were chosen? How was Satine chosen to be ruler of Mandalore? Because she didn't have the saber, right?
Right. She seems like she was democratically elected. From what I've gathered, it seemed like they were moving toward that. But like, that's when the Darksaber was sort of missing, right? Like, I guess Pre-Vizsla had it, and I think there must have come a point where like that didn't matter, because Pre-Vizsla must have been banished by that point, right? And we need someone else who is better at the Mandalore backstory to weigh in if anyone in the comments has an answer. But I did read that Bo-Katan was appointed ruler of Mandalore by the Jedi, and she was the regent, was the word they used. So, and she didn't have the Darksaber because it was in that like lost period after Maul had lost it. So her rule was probably not like super credible anyway. Here we go. So there's Ursa. She's wearing yellow, not Night Owl blue. So she's obviously just representing her clan. I like the brother too. I think it'd be cool if they were able to bring him into live action as well.
Well, there's been some. I'm trying to keep away from obviously anything spoiler-esque, but I know that Axe Wolves is going to be back for season 3. But Casca Reeves is not.
Oh, that's surprising. I love my Sasha Banks.
Yep. New England girl.
I follow Simon on Instagram, who plays Axe Wolves. He seems like a big fan of Star Wars, and I know Topps got him to sign autographs for Mandalorian. So I haven't seen him do any conventions yet, but he's someone I would definitely want to add to my autograph collection, and someone I'd want to meet as well. Because also he wears blue Night Owl gear, but he doesn't have the Night Owl stamp. But he's obviously with the two ladies. So I'm curious to know like what his connection is to them and what clan or what group he's actually a part of. I don't know if he would know that or like what the story is there, but I'm just curious. These two. Okay, so Kanan and Hera.
FaceTiming.
Yeah. They do a
I
nice
don't
job
have
setting up
FaceTime on
those.
Androids. What are you talking about? You're saying that Chopper's an iPhone. That's what you're saying.
Tiber Saxon.
I love how
I
they
do love
brought
how
that ship, sorry, the transport that they're pulling up, the troopers are pulling up in or whatever. They brought it out of just a toy into canon and then actually showed it in episode of The Mandalorian.
I was gonna say I love that transport. Yeah, it's what is it, the 78 toy or whatever, whenever it came out. It was early on in the line.
It was like, what is that? It looks kind of cool, but where? How? It wasn't exactly like this, but the idea was basically the same.
Well, I mean, I think it was very similar, except that the toy had like the little pods on the outside where they're just like,
Where you could put the figures.
Spence got a t-shirts. I need a cool Kylo shirt for the photo with Ian recommendations. Hello, go as Ben Swolo. Take your shirt off. I won't recommend that. I already owe you a Zima for something else.
uh-huh. I mean,
Yeah.
you could go with the Ben Swallow that's like, the abs and the pecs, like actually printed on a shirt.
Printed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that works. Here
I
you go.
do like this action sequence.
And then,
They
of
do
course,
it
you
really
have to
well.
have really high pants for that.
Yeah. So this looks like the train. Oh well, it's okay. It's not the train, but it kind of gave me kind of a feel of what we see in Fett
Boba Fett.
with the spice train.
Well, now
kind of.
see, isn't this like Lucas's original intent for the character of Boba Fett? Because we're seeing like an army of Imperial Mandos and army of Imperial Mandos or Bobas.
Yeah, I think it was a budget issue or something where they made one suit and they couldn't make a whole bunch more or something. I think that was the original trooper style before the actual troopers, but I'm not
Well,
positive.
see, I thought that they were supposed to be like a specialized trooper.
Oh,
with
like, yeah,
another specialty, like special forces stormtrooper kind of thing.
right.
And then they just made it one character instead of an army because of like
Right.
costs and everything. Yeah.
And that was why the original camera shot version that they demoed was white, because he was supposed to be part of that group.
That sounds right. I wonder though how much of this has been lost to like legend and then reinterpretation and the game of telephone and who's got the credibility here on all this.
So I want to say that I saw it in the Boba Fett Disney Plus special recently.
They showed the white stormtrooper footage of like him just walking around outside. I remember seeing that. I was like, what? They have this? Yeah, they unearthed some weird stuff for that little gallery thing.
That was great.
And then Boba and Vader walking in that parade. That was pretty cool.
Yes, it's so weird and random. That's the kind of stuff I love. I wish we just got more of that all the time. I was like, pull out all like the most random nonsensical stuff from the archives, because we all know the canon stuff. The super fans like us want to see that parade footage.
Right, exactly. That was new to me.
Yeah,
I think I may have seen stills or something, but minimal.
I'm surprised you weren't there.
Nah, Northern California.
Ah,
and then you just saw it, and you just see Chopper pistol whipping somebody.
Oh, amazing! I do enjoy the fact though that Sabine chopped that vehicle. She could have chopped that guy's head off from behind. So she's got some morals.
But I guess maybe it's also me who just watched Rise earlier today. When Kanan's walking with the saber through the stand, like you had the low, I was like waiting for him to do the back flip that Ray did. But he doesn't do it. But
the one that's in the trailer,
the one in the trailer that everybody the first awe of that trailer.
I love that trailer.
It was
It's
there
one of the better
was nothing
trailers.
like being on the floor for that. Like I was by
Yeah.
the Star Wars stage for that one. So it was just like the shock and awe of everything was
Mhm.
incredible.
I was in the green room, and even in the green room, other actors from across the saga like lost their minds over what happened. And then everyone would be like, "How can we see it? How can we see?" Because we didn't have we didn't have like a TV back there
Right.
to like see what was happening out on the floor. So people were scurrying immediately. I was like, "People have photo ops and autographs. Get going, get going!" Like it was kind of chaotic after that. And with Ian, by the way, all of a sudden Ian was missing, and not missing. Like we knew he had to go to something for a short period of time. And I was like, oh, they're going to wheel him out for a lot of things. Like he's the emperor. And then I realized the timing and I was like, that's when the trailer for F9 is probably going to hit. Like he's in this movie. Like I like put it together like minutes before, and then we heard the laugh and it was like, oh yes, very exciting.
Probably went nuts
Yeah.
for that. And then his roll it again with the mic drop was just like legendary. And that's why Celebration, one of the reasons why Celebration is so awesome, because you have moments like that.
Yeah. I'm excited to attend in a way where, like, yes, I'll be at a booth a lot of the time, but I'm going to have a little bit of, like, I'll be on the floor as well as doing the back, and I'll have a little more visibility. I might be able to do, like, buy some autograph tickets, go to a panel, certainly do more socializing, because even when we were done for the day, like, there was still work that went on and on. So I went to the podcast meetup for like a couple of hours, and that was the extent of my socializing until the final night when we were all at the bar in the hotel. And actually, that's where I got to finally talk to Alex and Molly from Star Wars Explained. And I was like, I took up way too much of their time. I was like, I have no idea. My husband and I watch you guys like every week. Like you're our favorite channel. And it's and other than that, like we didn't do a ton of socializing at Celebration because it was so busy. It sure will be different though, for sure. I got to make it out to the Bunta Eve and all the other stuff. That's the plan.
We'll be glad to have you there.
And
so here we go.
some,
That's Sabine's father.
My 10 glossies from this show. Right.
Yeah, those wouldn't go over too well.
Oh. Such a nicer reunion with him with mom.
Yeah. He's the emotional one, and he's the artist, by the way. So if we lost track of that, so Sabine is like a perfect blend of her mom and the dad, because the mom is like kind of brutal and like amazing at weapons and an excellent warrior, and then the dad is like super emotional and very artistic, and she like brings those two together. And he's also like fighting the Empire, and he says something about like fighting with art, which is exactly what she's doing with her propaganda graffiti everywhere. So I love the way that like taking those two very different parents and then turned her into like the combination of the two of them.
Oh, see there you
and you
go.
look at that. Yep.
Beat us over the head with it there.
Try to turn it.
And there you go.
There it is, fighting with the art.
That yellow and gray helmet really reminds me of Wolverine from the comics.
It's like a wolf shape, right? Is it a Lothcat kind of shape? There's a shape to it
like,
that like
weird kind of like ears, or I don't know.
The original, the Marvel.
Yeah. Old school Wolverine.
Okay, this moment is brutal.
Uh-oh, she knows what's going down.
Yeah. I love their armor though, the gold and the silver. As we think about helmet development over at Denuo and armor pieces and customability, customizing, personalization. I know you guys were talking about that on the last show. Like, what if you could put a slip over a helmet that would
Just
work
like
for
a helmet wrap.
Give it a different
a
deco.
wrap or something like that? Yeah, or a certain deco. we're looking at all that kind of stuff because I think there are so many shapes that are shared between multiple characters, and you could paint it the way you
Big time.
want. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool, especially as I'm looking at these characters that are from similar clans. And it's like, well, they all have the same sort of shoulder piece, elbow piece, or just chest piece. And the helmet has like a slight deco change, but the same mold. That's all kind of doable. So I'm exploring all that, especially since Mandalorian is like the thing holding up the franchise at the moment. Oh, by the way, this is brutal. That picture right there, like that's something to get autographed by all those voice actors as they're all looking out into the destruction. It's terrible.
But yeah, Mark, that's like, it's a totally a thing with lacrosse helmets and sports helmets, is like you just get a wrap for a model CX or CPXR or whatever, and
yep, I would love to do something like that.
And it just comes as a flat sticker sheet or something, and you just
oh, look at this. So the weapon appears to burn the person alive from the inside. This is a children's show. This is the season premiere, and this is part 1. And so what a great stopping point,
right?
It attracts to best car. We find out in the next episode that specifically the lightning attracts to best car, not just any type of metal. This is what Sabine created in her Imperial days. So
very interesting in this. I just paused on the cast, for here. I always love, obviously, seeing Chopper as himself, but seeing that Filoni was an Imperial Mandalorian commander, Freddie was a stormtrooper, Steve Blum was 2 stormtroopers, Matt Wood was another. You got some other actors from the same show doing other voices, which is actually kind of cool with that.
Very Simpson-y.
Yeah. So what did you think of this one, Dave?
I mean, it's a great episode for all the things that we were talking about. It's one of the reasons that Rebels is, you want to fight for it with all the people who are like, oh, I don't watch the cartoons. No, this is not a cartoon. This is an animated Star Wars drama. I mean, it's animated, but it's no. This is the kind of thing and why you fight that. I mean, that's why this background is here. That's the kind of thing. It's yeah.
Absolutely. Jeff.
Yeah, it gets pretty intense. Like Mark had said at the end there with the disintegrated Mando, that this is a children's show. It's much more than that. That's for sure, though.
Yeah. And Mark.
One of the things about this episode is that they really earned it. It's been 3 whole seasons that we've been following these characters. You remember what Ezra was like in episode 1. People compared him to Snips when we hated Ahsoka. Yeah. And now he's a little silly in his goofy Mandalorian jetpack that wouldn't function, but he pulled himself out of that and behaved like an adult. And we saw him training with Sabine in the prior episode. Everyone's shown growth and the stakes have gotten higher. And we're connecting to bigger parts of the saga. Even in the hologram, Hera's talking to them and Mon Mothma's name was dropped. We have a larger connection to the whole saga, and we're seeing actual death. We haven't seen a main character die. That comes later in the season. And this is also the start of the final season, and it was announced as the final season. So I think the stakes are there. And they really have earned this moment where I really thought when this ended, I was like, they killed her mom. I really, and by the way, we haven't come back yet, but we're going to find out if she's alive or not. I thought they did it. I really did. I was like, they killed that lady. She wasn't a big part of the show, but man, what a swing. So I appreciate how big they do swing on Rebels.
And I think this really set up for how intense, well, not the first part of the season, but the second part of season 7 of Clone Wars was.
Yeah.
Right.
This set the tone for that and allowed them to go where they went with that.
Yeah. Oh, and the whole back half of Rebels in this season with Jedi Knight, and everything that leads up to the finale. I thought that was some of the darkest storytelling I've ever seen. The way that Palpatine tries to offer Ezra a chance to turn on them and take him through the world between worlds by offering his parents back. heart-wrenching. Remember, this kid is 19. He's the same, not even, he's 16. He's the same age as Luke and Leia. And at this point in the saga, he would only be 16 years old. And he is given the choice, like, hey, you can have your parents back if you just surrender to me, like the Lord of all evil. A lot of 16-year-olds would just do that. And so they really, they hit you with heavy decisions to be made and really dark moments that you don't see coming when you watch like Sparks of Rebellion, the first episode of Rebels. You're like, what, it's a kid show. And then it turns out, nope, to what you were saying earlier, it's just animated and the stakes are very high.
Oh, all good stuff. All good stuff. So yeah, we're on a pause right now. We're about to watch episode 2 of season 4. But as we always do in between the 2 episodes, we always do the Rubies rollout. So Mark, take us away.
Mm-hmm. So no blog this week. Thank you guys for covering the blog last week. I hope you learned how to paint your own Mandalorian helmet. We didn't give away all the trade secrets, but we shared some. This week, the big news is that our 4 X-Wing helmets, so the Luke Skywalker Red 5 X-Wing, the Blue Leader General Merrick X-Wing, the Rey salvaged X-Wing that she wears in The Force Awakens, and then the Red Leader X-Wing from A New Hope. All 4 of those helmets are in stock and shipping right now. So you'll notice that if you go to the website, denuonova.com, all of those change from pre-order to in stock. So we have emailed like 500-ish plus customers saying helmets are shipping. Please confirm your addresses if you haven't already done so. And hundreds of you have done so and hundreds of you have still not. So please send me your addresses so we can mail you. I want the helmets to leave Wisconsin and go to your house instead. But that is the big news. And then, so those big 4 are the big ones. And then we still have the Gold Leader X-Wing, which is coming in Q2, along with the 3 TIE fighters. So there's a TIE fighter pilot, the TIE Victor 2, who, if you don't know who he is, he's the one next to Darth Vader in the flight in A New Hope in the trench run. And then the Inferno Squad commander, which is Iden Versio, played by Janina Gavankar from Battlefront 2. Those 4 helmets are all coming in Q2 and some of them are on the water already, and some are finishing up production. Those are all done in China. So that's the latest on the Denuo Nova front. So it's been a busy week because hundreds of helmets are arriving and hundreds of helmets are shipping back out.
Okay, I have questions.
Yes.
So how similar or how different is there different interior padding? Is it solely paint job differences on these helmets?
So we actually approved 1 X-Wing sculpt for the physical helmet. So all of them will fit the same way, and they all fit up to like a size 8 hat is what we say.
Love the fact that you include that, because with other helmets, by other manufacturers, you don't know.
So yeah, we also found, and I found as I first joined the brand, and we picked up this license and everything, everything runs a little bit small. And so it was important to point out that if you have a large head, it's going to be a tight fit. And so the size 8 hat is not that big. Actually, I didn't even realize. I almost couldn't get the Mandalorian helmet on my head, and the Mando helmet is gorgeous, but I always say it's sized for Pedro. And that's the thing. And I guess he has a small head or something, but I think it looks better as a display piece than trying to put it on, actually. But yes, so that's the size. And the interior lining is all the same as well. They do have different comm links. I believe the Rey one has a comm link and an extra tube. Yeah, so they all have their own comm links sort of set up. And then they all, of course, have the custom deco. But the actual physical helmet and the interior lining padding are all the same. And we include little cushions, too, because you have to position where you want your cushions in order to fit the helmet right. And they all have a slightly different visor, but the visor is very similar.
Excellent.
Yeah. The TIE fighters are all very, very, very similar. Those could other than the paint job, I don't think, other than one little screw difference on one of them, there's anything different between the TIE fighters.
Excellent. Well, Thank you very much for that. Really
Yep.
Appreciate that. A couple of plugs right now. Dave, want you to say anything new on the VCN that is noteworthy?
So VCN, we've always got new unboxings that are coming out near daily. And I think we alluded to when we were talking in another place that there's some bigger news. There's some stuff coming on the VCN coming up hopefully in the next month, going up, preparing for celebration and getting you all ready for that. Always the March is wrapping up, so we're going to be looking at our April episode of Celebrating Autographs. With some guest news coming out just today, I'm thinking that's going to lead to some more discussion. We know who the autograph room is. All good questions and things that you guys should be saving up and looking to ask Frank about. And Spencer's frozen.
Oh no! Oh, there he goes.
He's sort of there.
Am I frozen? I know I'm here. No, it's all good. And also, I want to plug down our TeePublic store. We can get all 4 of our Die Hard inspired T-shirts with your Yippee-ki-yay Dank Ferrick, Yippee-ki-yay Daiwanawanga, Yippee-ki-yay Utini, and Yippee-ki-yay Yub Nub. So get them. They're fun.
They're totally
love to
fun. And if
see-
you have suggestions for some other ones, if you're like, oh man, I'm listening. I'm here.
Yeah. We're always planning, and also plugging as well the Not So Virtual Cantina as well as the Bunta Eve Cantina. I want to give a quick little shout out to the Force.net. Now, if you're not familiar with them, they're one of the oldest Star Wars fan groups. They do a lot also on Reddit and whatnot. Anyway, they did plug the Bunta Eve Cantina as one of the events you should be going to outside of Celebration, which is pretty awesome. So we thank them very much for. I feel like you are. Thanks for noticing me. But at the same time, it's it's exciting. I'm very excited. We're in 2 months. 2 months, and then the family's back together. It's gonna be a big reunion. It's gonna be fantastic. Shame that unfortunately the VC didn't score a table or panels,
Right.
but we're still going to be represented very, very well. Our family will be wearing our colors very, very nicely, I'm sure, throughout that entire
You
week.
will be everywhere. We will be walking around the floor and looking like a very nerdy biker gang. So come find us. We are there.
Yes. So with that in mind,
Hang on one second.
I think
Spencer.
we're ready.
Before we go for another one, there's a question for Mark relating to the Ruby's rollout.
Mhm.
It's just a question about the Stormtrooper kits that are coming out. Will there be like individual parts, like replacement parts for those, or is it going to be kit only?
Oh, it's kit only. We don't have the I guess permission or the ability to sell individual. We couldn't just sell you like a shoulder piece or something. So you have to buy the whole kit. Now, if you've bought something in the past that needs replacing, send me an email and I'll see what I could do if it was bought through Novos recently. But my understanding is they haven't shipped anything in like 6 or 7 years. So I don't think that's something we could probably help with. That's probably something that would be better solved in like a trader group.
I think it
yeah.
might have been more of, say they bought a kit and they, break a piece, or
Yeah.
they, that sort of thing.
Right, replacement kind of thing. I'm looking into that because also at the moment we don't have individual gloves available, and I was like, oh my god, we've got to sell gloves because if we don't have gloves, you got to go get them somewhere else, and I don't want to send you somewhere else meaning non-licensed, right? So I'll look into both those things for you.
Sweet.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that question. That came from Pierce. We appreciate you being involved and loving our shows and echoing the Ruby's rollout, how we pronounce it. Appreciate that when you write that in the chat. It looks funny, kind of elongated. But same time, let's get ready for this great episode. It's the final episode animation-wise for our Path to the Darksaber. And a lot of goodness as we know, coming out of this one, but good episode. So is everybody queued up?
I'm good.
Yep.
Excellent. So we're going to start up again in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Comes two.
1, play.
right back in the pull your heartstrings out.
Yeah. Ooh.
And it goes off like Thanos' snap.
Yeah. That's beautiful animation.
It really is.
I think one of the animations about Mandalore we were watching last week was very much esque of the Three Brothers animation from Deathly Hallows. It had like that shadow kind of look.
And you mentioned Harry Potter, and Jeff disappears.
Akio Jeff.
This is the revelation that she created the weapon.
Mm.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking, right? Because we know she had left the academy. We had our suspicions as to why, but we didn't realize like just what she accomplished when she was there. Like I thought she was like a bomb expert, which is true. We know she's like great at bombs and other stuff.
Right.
There we go. Of course they had to be alive. I mean, I will say though, like I did think they killed her. Like straight up when I saw the first episode, I was like, they did it.
He magically reappears.
I didn't want to eat on camera. I was starving.
That's okay.
I like his armor a lot, the blue and yellow.
That was the thing.
Some of those echoes are amazing. He's got weird shoulders though. Those bulbous shoulders kind of throw it off, I think.
Yeah. The helmet design is gorgeous.
Yeah, the helmet itself is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about last time, the bulbous shoulders things. It's like, was that the very Samus, or is that
Yeah,
the other
Metroid.
Yeah.
But not quite that far.
No.
I want to know about the history of the jetpacks and how they went from the Boba Fett style one to that weird little skinny one like that the white guys got.
Like that,
Yeah.
not there. Yeah.
And I think Sabine's is like that too. But see, Mom's is bigger.
hmm
Ezra has a bigger
Ezra's
one.
using an old one.
Right.
Yeah, technology always gets smaller over time, right? The Empire would probably figure out how to minimize, spend as
Right.
little as possible.
Oh,
TIE fighters now. Who's that in the whose ship is that? Oh,
But,
I didn't even. Yeah, I was like, it's not the ghost. I know that Hera doesn't show up. I have my little ghost over here too. This little paper guy. I don't even remember where. I'm gonna get this on camera.
put it right in front of you.
Oh yeah, there we go.
there you go.
That's
Do-do-do.
so
Nice.
cool.
Super
Paper
cute. It's all
craft
paper.
ghost.
Yeah,
Or
forget-
origami
I forget who
ghost.
did this, but like it looks like origami kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Epicura.
very cute.
I like
I have so much stuff around, and then I'm like,
Basic idea behind this helmet.
hmm,
Done in a similar
Yes.
way. Epicura, where it's basically I took a paper pattern and turned it into more of a solid object. But everything was flat to begin with, like that one was.
it's very cool.
Less folding and more kind of molding of the to get the curves and stuff, but same idea.
See, and
Nope.
I don't get how the more
Ezra's
modern
Ezra's like the bug on
jetpacks have any sort of control. You know, there's control jets on the other ones that'll angle side or this or that, but
Oh,
bug on a windshield.
Yeah.
and she definitely killed that guy. Like you can't blow up a TIE fighter without killing the pilot. So
Right.
Bo-Katan is the first, I think. Everyone else is like slicing at. All right, Ezra killed
Ezra
that guy
just
too.
uses his
Yeah.
his
Put him down.
Follow suit.
jetpack.
Yeah. Oh, there's Thrawn. I love Thrawn in Rebels. I know that's a little controversial because he's not quite the Timothy Zahn version of Thrawn.
It's
And
still
people-
Thrawn.
Yeah, I know there was some original controversy of like, why are we putting this character into this show? And it doesn't fit perfectly with what we know of him in the books. I still thought he was a great character and an excellent
Yeah.
villain to go
Yeah.
up against the rebels because he's so
Definitely.
smart and manipulative and cunning. I guess is one of the words that people really use to describe him. And
Yep.
he, he's treacherous. And I
Definitely.
don't know, evil. Evil is like so overused, but like he's he's treacherous and he's aggressive and he's trying to get his way and he'll step on anyone to get there, but he'll also like pull you into these weirdly inviting situations. Like when he spends that whole episode with Hera, it's so unnerving. I was like, why are you polite? Everything about it just like makes you that much more creeped out.
Right. Get that vibe from people sometimes when they're just too proper or whatever it is.
Yeah, he'd be like lawful evil, right? In like the 9
Okay.
box, right?
It's kind of like the new gonna hawk the track, sorry. The new version of Khan in not original Ricardo Montalban Khan, but Cumberbatch
Talking
Khan.
about Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a creepiness fact. Actually, Benedict Cumberbatch would be an excellent Grand Admiral Thrawn.
You really would.
That was my choice for him initially.
You need
He
like
actually just said no.
Okay, look, he's already Doctor Strange. So like how much more are we gonna how much more can the man do? He's Sherlock. You need someone with actually Matt Smith would be an amazing Thrawn. And I know that he was supposedly cut from episode 9. I think because you need like a British guy with that long face and that creepy look. And Matt Smith looks like he's going to be really creepy in the Morbius movie. So if he wants to continue down that road, like Thrawn would be a nice next step.
Also, Lars, if he wanted to go live action, he could possibly do it.
Yeah, I forget what Lars Mikkelsen looks like, but I think that he'd be fine too. And by the way, he's great as the voice actor. I think we've gotten to the point now where, like, for the most part, we're recasting voice actors. Like, it just so happens that they designed Bo-Katan to look like Katie Sackhoff when she did that role. And so she has worked into it. And she's also like a sci-fi action star. Like, she was already that thing. Whereas that wasn't really true for Ashley or Tia or any of the other voice actors so far. So I don't know if Lars would be a fit. But like, he's excellent as the voice role. By the way, I just love Matt Smith. So let's put him into anything. Let's find a project for him.
Well, we said this several times on the show, on all of our shows, is that the Mouse House is very incestuous. So you might see one in Marvel and someone will come up in Star Wars or animation or wherever.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Oscar Isaac's in like 6 things now. Yeah.
Yep.
I think once you sign one of those contracts, like Chris Evans is Captain America, now he's Buzz Lightyear. You sign a contract with Disney proper, and then why would you turn down? Like, if you're Captain America, why? I'm sure you don't even need to audition. Why would you turn down Lightyear? Like, that sounds like a great opportunity, especially it's going to end up being a franchise.
Right.
It really almost seems like Disney is going back to the old studio system where they just player under contract and just hanging around on the lot waiting for a part.
Yeah,
but it's
the MGM days of old.
Yeah. They're not like exclusive per se, but they do keep them busy, I would imagine.
Yes.
Yeah. Once they find people they like, they pop up in numerous projects.
Right.
Jeff Goldblum's in several things now. Like they pick someone, and you're part of the House of Mouse.
Favreau. He's gone for every facet of Star Wars, of Disney, from their animation to Star Wars to kicking off Marvel and playing Happy for so long.
And acting as well as directing. But imagine, the casting from the animated to the live action, if they just, like, for some reason, if Ewan didn't want to do Obi-Wan and they cast James Arnold Taylor, that would kind of be off a little bit. He wouldn't fit quite the same, be a little different vibe.
Yeah, James was excellent in the Clone Wars. But since we have like a live action Obi-Wan, they wouldn't, the fans wouldn't go for it. That's the tough bit.
But also, he is not necessarily the visual version of Obi-Wan that we would
expect. Exactly. Yeah, he doesn't look like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay, and see, these guys aren't particularly like respecting Sabine with the Darksaber. They're like throwing down on her. Everybody else is like, okay, you win. These guys are like, oh, Buzz, we need her because she knows about the weapon. Or she's the Mandalore. What? No.
Yeah, it's weird how that gets kind of treated different ways especially by different people. But,
Depends on what house you're in. Also, everyone knows Sabine as a traitor, right?
Mhm.
Like she and her whole family got essentially exiled.
Right.
So I don't. She has a terrible reputation going in to a lot of these people, including her own mom. Which still it makes me so angry. And more than that, I was thinking the brother. The brother pisses me off more than the mom because siblings have to band together in those types of situations. Like, there's no
Right.
way that Tristan should have aligned to the mom, Ursa. I keep calling her the mom. She's more than them. Ursa in this situation. Like, he should have backed Sabine and like figured out how to help her, and instead like he's complicit in this as well. So I'm very mad at as a brother. I would never let my sister like go through that if one of my parents was behaving that way. Absolutely not. I'm
Right.
livid on behalf of all brothers.
Mhm.
Okay, she has some good things to say about Bo-Katan.
And that big orb
Mm.
that we see in the Night of a Thousand Tears
Right.
later on
It's funny to
during Doomsday.
see Chopper flying with that one rocket coming out of the middle of his butt. Whereas we've seen R2 with like one on each leg, I think is what he does.
Right.
That's weird. They have some interesting versions of the walkers in this show.
So you guys caught that the name of the weapon is the Duchess, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So obviously a nod to Satine. I remember thinking it's like another just it's just like salt in the wound. Like, hasn't this poor woman
Right.
suffered enough? Everything that happened to her, and then the weapon is named after her. And it's killing her own people. I sometimes they're just cruel,
Right.
and you almost have to laugh at like how ridiculous it is.
Echo Base Media actually announced a signing with Anna Graves today as well.
Excellent. I love her so much. Oh, she did announce she's going to be. I was saying when we were first watching one of the Satine episodes, she's almost never on the convention scene. She is doing a convention with James Earl Taylor. They're both going to be at a show together, and it's coming up. I think it's before Celebration. I don't remember the dates, but I'm sure it's on her social. James was the one who posted it, which is how I saw it. I've yet to meet her in person, but she is just delightful in every way. So she's on my list. Like, as I have my list of Star Wars people I have not met yet in person, she's top 5 for me of people to meet.
Cool.
Oh, no, there it is. Now they're, dude.
Took them down.
Yes, that was just turned up to like, 0.5.
Oh, this jerk. He actually looks like Corky. Oh my God, the mystery of Corky. I really hope when you say things enough times out loud, like the universe finds it, and sometimes you'll get a response from someone somewhere. Like, someone find us what happened to Corky Kryze, and whether he pops up again in live action at a later date or whatever. But he can't just be like gone, knocked unconscious in that episode of Clone Wars, and then us never have resolution. Like, that would make me crazy. One of the stupidest loose ends.
Yeah. So Lila is talking about a random thought, speaking about being a parent of children. Star Wars saying how sad that we never got to see Padme be a parent to Luke and Leia, and that we get a glimpse of that sort of sadness. Coincidentally, that is our proposed topic for the Unifying Force this week. It's another what if episode. What if Padme had lived? How would that have made things different? What different roads could that path go along? So join us, tune in to the Unifying Force.
Ooh,
that's a great thing. The follow-up question to that is if Padme lived, which she should have, there's no reason to have killed her. Even as a plot device, she just had to go away. Plenty of people went away to exile. Shouldn't have to die. Would the twins have stayed together? Like you wouldn't have
Probably
needed to
are.
necessarily separate the twins.
Well,
Like,
and the other questions that you've got too is, do they stay together? Yes, does Padme remain Padme? Does Padme, succumb to a darker side like Anakin? Does she support him and stay that way? Don't just dismiss it outright. I don't, but there are the ways.
I would love a dark side Padme. That would be fun. But she was always like almost annoyingly good. Even in the Clone Wars, like whenever you needed something done, someone put up a meme and it was like you can send 100 Jedi or you could just send Padme to the Senate to yell at people. They're both equally effective. And it's true. Like she got it done. You know that thing from like The Boys where it's like girls get it done. Padme gets it done. She shows up and like she saves the day somehow all the time. And I love that about her, and I love that version of the character in Clone Wars. I want to join this topic now because my favorite idea of like what if is like the switching of Luke and Leia, where like Luke goes to be like the rebel spy under like Luke Organa, and then Rey, and then Leia Skywalker, like that kind of flip would be really interesting. But the two of them growing up together, I think, is equally interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brendan, we got somebody all the way from Perth, Australia, on the chat right now. So, welcome. Good to see you. He was at our first event at Rising Star back in 2017. Going back to more talk about 2017 again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Padme is always a voice of reason. I mean, I can honestly say, regardless of where you are politically in real life, I think I did put up 2 elections ago the meme of Padme saying, well, "This is how liberty dies," with thunderous applause on the night of election night.
I think every person on every side has that meme going at every election. It's a little bit true, right? Like, because you're always being sold a lie from someone,
right?
Oh yeah. Okay. So this is the moment where she reverses the weapon.
Yeah, she flips it.
Yeah. So now it attracts stormtrooper armor and it could fry them from the inside. I love this look, and of course I'm cheering her on. I'm so dark side. I'm like, do it, kill him. Children's show.
Damn, it's working all those troopers.
Yeah.
Oh, even got Ezra.
Oh, yeah. Right, because the helmet.
Much for that.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Brain.
His frontal lobotomy.
By the way, this is super effective. I would take this weapon and figure out how to bring it back to the rebellion, and you put it in the hands of someone like Saw Gerrera, like because Mon Mothma won't use it, but Saw would.
Yeah, Saw would have no problem with this one.
Yeah, like, we can burn people from the inside out, and then like all of a sudden times are peaceful, and Mon Mothma's like, oh, things really worked out. Great.
Thanks.
Now, this is what I think is kind of a little bit out of character. Is this the voice of reason from Bo-Katan?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I'm thinking she would be the one saying, turn it up.
I agree. Well, this is a moment we have to remember Sabine is also 19 years old, right? Like we look at these characters and they look older than they are, and we spent a lot of time with them and they're doing these super heroic things. She's a kid, and she says earlier she was too ambitious, which is why she even designed the weapon to begin with. So right now she's struggling with like, they did this to my people. They killed a bunch of my people. They tried to kill me. They tried to kill my mom. I'd kill these people. I'm 41 and I haven't aged out of my desire for revenge. Like these people deserve to be fried from the inside out, and I support her in her decision. But Bo-Katan has been surrounded by violence her whole life, and I talked about earlier her choosing violence regularly. Maybe this is the moment where she was like, if we don't choose violence, also maybe she'll give me the Darksaber. I always think she's playing a side game. So that's my thought on that. But I would have killed all of them, which I think they die anyway, right? Doesn't the place explode? Like that's coming. So
that's about to.
I guess she got some moral high ground, and everyone still died. I would call that a win-win.
Right.
And I'm sorry, Ezra. If I were you, I would not be putting on the stormtrooper helmet again. That
just leave it. Just leave it. You got enough.
While you're nearby, for sure.
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, the whole place is going up. All right. So it accomplished nothing to stop the weapon, except they no longer have the weapon to then use against the Empire. So that's
later on.
Ugh. Oh, that's infuriating. Well, maybe Sabine can come back and make another one in live action.
That'd be cool.
That'd be a great effect to see in live action as someone burned alive from the inside. I'm a big horror movie fan, and so like
That
different
would be a
types
D
of
plus
death
thing.
sequences, like I think that would be very cool to see.
It'd be for Disney Plus After Dark.
Yeah, just we got the rating system now. We're good. Adult stuff, you know.
Too hot for D plus.
Yeah.
Not too hot for Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Yeah.
Mm.
Similar temperature.
Oh,
You're welcome.
I'm so excited that Joel and Bonnie are back. Like Bonnie's on my list of people I need to meet too. Especially since her escaping Nexium and everything.
surprise, because
Yeah.
she's doing cons now.
Yep, I'm so pumped.
She's been
Because I have
announced
her
for
autograph on
right,
cards, but I've never
Rhode
met her.
Island. So
Yeah. Oh, I'll be there at the Rhode Island for sure.
yep, she has the same representation as Omid.
Oh, here it is. That's
Oh,
the bad.
terrific.
That's the bad
Dan
scene. This is-
Gindom.
Like, I really want it.
For the power of Grayskull.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I have the power.
And they lived happily ever after.
Or did they?
Negative.
Mandalore was saved.
Mm.
That's not what she says.
Oh,
It's still the fight I'm rooting the
I'm
most
not-
for. Bo-Katan versus the armor.
Mandalorian.
I know.
Oh,
Those stuff, Katie versus Emily is just awesome in itself. Just
Yeah.
thinking about it.
they're both so cool.
That was swell.
I love both those ladies so much, and both those characters are incredible. They have to fight, right? Like at some point, and especially the things that the armorer said about Bo-Katan, if Bo-Katan heard even one sentence of that stuff, it would be an immediate punch to the face.
Throw
But most
down.
importantly, like Bo-Katan has to find a way to remove the armorer's helmet. Like that's the big, like you have to do something to like humiliate her, or otherwise devalue her. Never mind win the fight. Like you just have to kick off her helmet somehow, and then that's disrespectful. I think that's the way you handle that one.
We definitely need a
That's what I would
Scooby-Doo ending for that.
Well, I'm curious to see like what she would look like,
Yes.
because we don't know what the armorer looks like. Does she look like Emily is the question.
Right.
I remember when we first thought the
would be good.
Emperor, a lot of people saying, is that Bo-Katan? People were theorizing, fanboy,
Yeah.
fangirl theorizing. But yeah, it'll be very interesting. But Dave, this episode.
I mean, another amazing one is, and it goes down, it roots the darkness in more darkness. Okay. It's like, oh, there's terrible, horrible weapon that's out there. How dare the Empire create such a thing? Oh, wait, Sabine created it? This is the heroine that we're setting up to immediately reset up as an anti-hero, and just wow, the themes in the kid show that this has.
I think that's one reason I love this so much. Jeff.
Yeah, it was pretty good. The questions it leaves still, and things that explored, like Dave said, with the weapon. Ultimately, she destroyed it, but that and having this sort of open-ended thing with the Darksaber, which everyone's not quite too sure of.
Well,
So,
they destroyed a Death Star and they just built another one. So there's probably
that's true.
some plans laying around somewhere.
yeah, you'd think. So I
Right
don't
next
know.
to Project Stardust.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the things, we can talk about this, a million times, is that the lightspeed tracking that they used in Last Jedi was talked about in Rogue One.
Yeah.
So a couple things there. But Mark, this episode.
Yeah, I think it does so much. Rewatching it, I forgot like just how many things it connects to within Rebels. It's both a great story in and of itself, but then it's building on the character of Sabine, and then it's also giving us Mandalorian history of the Darksaber, the connectivity of the Empire and Mandalore, this horrendous weapon, and the fact that, I mean, essentially they built a weapon for genocide, right? Like it's targeting the armor of one specific race. So it's like super, super dark. And it sort of indicates, especially the graphic, you know, we've talked about the graphic behind us. This is what season 4 feels like. Season 4 of Rebels is horrifying. I was rewatching some deeper into the season episodes recently, you know, with the buildup of once Kanan dies all the way into the finale. And it's just dark, dark, dark as Lethal is like struggling to stay not occupied by the Empire. And they've earned it. They've gotten to this point where this is what war feels like. And so if this is what kids are watching to sort of get a sense as to like how bad things could be in the real world, I think this is actually a great type of show to watch, to see like what the stakes are and you know, what real conflict looks like and how complicated decisions are. I was rooting for Sabine to kill those people. I still am, by the way. I'm going to go on record saying that. Kill those people, Sabine.
Yes. So we got a great question from Bryce. Do we think that Thrawn sent Gideon to Mandalore after this?
No, Thrawn and Gideon don't line up timeline wise, I don't think, because I think the Night of 1,000 Tears happens after Thrawn is banished with Ezra, right? Like Thrawn is out of the picture, but it could be Tarkin. Like Tarkin could have a reason to get Gideon out there. Like I think Tarkin would see that Gideon is ambitious and potentially a threat to him, and he'd be like, "You go deal with this mess." So I could see Tarkin doing that for sure. But I think Thrawn, we don't know the exact timeline, right? Unless someone has a year for like the Night of 1,000 Tears. I think Thrawn is already in deep space with Ezra and the Purgles.
Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we just finished up the animation portion of our Path of the Darksaber series, which was what we thought was the last time we saw the Darksaber, and then our minds were blown, which we'll talk about a lot more next week. But Dave, is there anything you want to plug? I know you mentioned earlier the Unifying Forces coming weekend.
Like I said, if all goes according to plan, and there's some technical weirdness that might factor in, but you know, check out the Unifying Force on Sunday, and check us out for, like I said, another what if of one that I think will be fascinating and can go a lot of different directions with the what if Padme had lived.
Good. And how's everything over on your end, Jeff? Everything's good?
Yep. Just getting hyped for Celebration with the news that we've been getting and things that the group has been doing, even though we were, like you said earlier, denied a table and or panel options. But, you know, we're going to have fun and meet up and connect with people that we haven't met and do a lot of different fun stuff in a few months. So I look forward to it.
Absolutely. Lots to look forward to in the next couple of months. There is nothing like the countdown for Celebration. I mean, Mark, you lived it. You're prepping for months to years for it. The last 2 months, they fly by, and it's the last 2 weeks are the ones that are dragging the most. You're like, I'm there, I'm packed up. What was it like for you knowing how it was coming together?
Yeah, working on it is different than just attending as a fan, for sure, because there was never a drag or a lag for me. Like I felt like I was fighting the clock at all times, and trying to get as much information out there publicly that we were permitted to. So I would tell you guys, like the 3 names we heard today for autograph reveals have probably been worked on for the last 3 to 6 months. And it's just now we're finding that they're able to announce this information. I'm sure they were in negotiations with even Amy and Dan for months about hosting. So these things take so much time and so much work behind the scenes. I don't think anyone has any idea, unless you've planned to show yourself like a convention or any component of it, just the quantity of hours that go into it. I feel like I didn't sleep during that final month. Like I remember I was one time I was trying to get in a late night workout at the gym back when I still exercised regularly, and like my phone was ringing, and I'm like, the weights are in the air and then they're down on the ground, and I'm on my phone, and then I'm trying to like hobble the weight back to I had to like give up my bench to like bring the weight back because it was an agent calling me about like way after hours about someone's deal, and it's like, oh my god, we've got to get pen to paper and sign the contracts. Like that goes on, and it's not just the autograph planners, it is every component of this event to make it as smooth and as a great as experience for everyone who's looking to attend. So everyone who's on this call or watching or listening, saying how they're so excited to see their friends, they're so excited for these panels, they're so excited to walk the floor, meet these actors, get photo ops. Like we can't disappoint people. And so everyone who's working to make that happen is going above and beyond right now in the crunch time. I would say the last 2 months are crunch. It was like nothing I had ever experienced in my career. I don't think I've ever worked harder than that last month before celebration, booking all the talent and everything. And there's still things that are fully out of your control, like the snow, like destroyed all our travel. And we had 2 cancellations, and there's always going to be something. People show up late and it messes up the whole autograph flow for the day, or the photo op flow for the day. So it is crazy town, but also it is so fun, and I'm so excited to see everyone. I can't wait to be there in person, especially at the podcast meetup. That's what I'm looking most forward to at the moment. The podcast meetup.
Sure. Well, that's pretty much it for right now. Like I said, we got a lot of great stuff happening within the virtual Cantina family. A lot of things moving, a lot of moving components, but also gearing up for our big event, which is our big thing is the Bunta Eve Cantina, which will be the night before celebration. A lot of good plans are coming up, and we're trying to make this as special an event for you as possible, because there's nothing like going to something and meeting people for the first time that you're going to not only be friends with for be forever, but also you'll be able to run into people on the floor and be like, I remember you from last night. You sang that song or whatever, and just there's nothing like being on the floor and running into people. So with that in mind, no, he's not going to be there. So with that in mind, this is Spencer with Dave, Jeff, and Mark saying we'll see you next week for the finale of season 1, The Mandalorian, and may the force be with you.
This is the way.
Producing.